This is billions of years from now, the last human on Earth. After 700 Foslifts, he is completely changed from human to face. The most prominent creatures in the universe gathered to admire the Earth before its destruction. The volume of the sun expanded more, and the Earth was affected by it, and the surface was gradually covered by flames. Previously, the Foundation attempted to prevent the approach of the sun with gravity facilities. Now that the Foundation is bankrupt, human beings can only let the Earth go to destruction. As the head of the space station read the names of the guests, characters from various galaxies appeared one after another. There are tree people, replicants, and David and Ross who came through time. Afterwards, the guests began to exchange gifts symbolizing peace. The tree man took out a branch and gave it to David. David didn't prepare gifts in advance. At this time, the replicant took out a metal ball and gave it to all the guests present. Even the station master of the space station had a gift. Afterwards, Della, a human on Earth, showed off his rare collection, an ostrich egg and a record player. Just then, the station master announces that there are only 30 minutes left before the destruction of the Earth. Looking at the dying Earth outside the window, Ross seemed a bit unacceptable. Ross hid in the room, looking at the Earth engulfed in flames in the distance. A mechanical spider drilled out of the metal ball given by the replicant. Just when the mechanical spider was about to attack Ross, David, who broke and suddenly interrupted the spider. David can deeply understand what Ross is feeling at this time. So David modified Ross' cell phone to let Ross talk to his mother. After Ross talked with his mother, Ross is very happy. The two returned to the hall, and the tree man greeted David. Seeing this, Ross could only go to the other side to chat with his kind. After undergoing 700 Foslifts, Della turned into a skin. Now Della has to have someone spray her face with water all the time in order to stay alive. Even so, Della still claims to be human. Ross is too prominent in Della's eyes, and it's better to have plastic surgery like her. Ross said it would be better to die than to live like this. At the same time, mechanical spiders began to attack the space station. The station master couldn't understand the sudden vibration. Even if the sun exploded, the entire space station would not be shaken. So he carefully inspected the entire space station. Finally, the existence of the mechanical spider was detected. The spider turned off the sunlight filter, and the station master was sunburned to death. The maintenance staff also discovered the existence of the mechanical spiders, but they were dragged into the depths of the pipeline in the end. On the other side, the Ents and David are checking the space station. The two walked into the cooling room, where several fans were operating slowly. When a solar storm hits, they spin at full speed, expelling heat. David opened the controller, but a mechanical spider came out of it. Before David could figure out the situation, a warning came over the radio, announcing that there were still 10 minutes before the destruction of the Earth. The temperature of the cooling chamber will gradually increase. When the two passed the main control room, they saw the dead station master. The system showed that the sun filters in all rooms were gradually failing. David returns to Ross' room. At this time, Ross was attacked and trapped in the room. Ross' life was dying, and David hurriedly modified the program. In a pinch, David turned on the filter. The gate has been melted by the sun. Back in the lobby, the guests are discussing who the murderer is. David pointed out that the only way to know who is the murderer is to release the mechanical spider. The mechanical spider will go to his master. David put the mechanical spider on the ground, and the spider stalked towards the replicant on one side. The murderer is these mysterious people who have never shown up. But the replicants in front of them are just puppets, and the real murderer is manipulating them behind the scenes. The replicant lost control and collapsed to the ground, and the mechanical spider walked towards Della again. Seeing this situation, Della also tore off the disguise. At this time Della has taken control of the entire space station. Della just wanted to take these prominent nobles as hostages and extort a huge sum of compensation. Now that things have been revealed, the only option is to kill them. Della destroyed the security system, opened the teleportation array and escaped. Now there are only 3 minutes left to destroy the Earth. A space station that has lost its security system cannot resist the power of an explosion at all. David rushed to the cooling room to restart the system, but as the temperature got higher and higher, the fan speed became faster and faster. The Trent pulled the brake switch and let David pass. However, the tree man couldn't bear the high temperature and was burned to ashes. With the activation of the defense system, the space battle successfully resisted the shock wave generated by the explosion on the Earth. However, the tree man's sacrifice made David very angry. David returned to the lobby and sent Della back through the teleportation program. Della still wanted to quibble, but the high temperature in the room made her skin dehydrated quickly. At the end of this issue, David and Ross return to Earth and start a new adventure.